The Riders are 3-0 when Jack Snodgrass takes the hill. He goes tonight in front of an offense that scored 14 runs over the last 2 nights. The winner of tonight wins the series here on Fox Sports Southwest.
Live from Dr. Pepper Ballpark in Frisco, Texas, Frisco Rough Riders Baseball.
Happy Sunday and welcome out to Dr. Pepper Ballpark. It's the season series finale between the Frisco Rough Riders and the Tulsa Drillers. Hello, everybody. Nathan Barnett here with you. We'll be joined by Paul Kruger, the Assistant Director of Player Development of the Texas Rangers, here in just a couple of minutes. The Rough Riders can win their second straight home series with the win today, having split the first 2 games against Tulsa over the last couple of nights. The Rough Riders are most likely out of the playoff race with an elimination number of just 1, with 15 games remaining in the Texas League South Division race. But the Drillers are right in the thick of things. Tulsa's just 1 game back of Northwest Arkansas for first place in the North Division race. And in fact, all 4 teams have a legitimate shot to win the Texas League North in the second half and earn a berth into the 4-team playoff race. So the Rough Riders today can play spoiler against a team that's beaten them in 9 of the 10 meetings so far this year. The Rough Riders won their first game against Tulsa on Friday, shutting out the Drillers 9-0. Today, Frisco sends Jack Snodgrass to the mound. The former Giants farmhand has been sensational with the Rough Riders in 3 appearances, picking up 2 wins and taking a no decision. The 28-year-old won't overpower you, but he knows what he's doing out there on the mound and gets a ton of ground ball outs. It'll be Snodgrass tonight, hoping for a series victory. It's a rubber game, so the winner tonight wins the series. We can't wait to bring you the action right here on Fox Sports Southwest. Frisco Rough Riders baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Train. It's hard to stop a train. By Dr. Pepper and by Coaster. Welcome back out to Dr. Pepper Ballpark. Just about to get underway between the Rough Riders and the Tulsa Drillers, the final game of this season series. Jack Snodgrass taking the ball for Frisco tonight. Will face the top of the Drillers lineup. Tim LaCastro, Kyle Farmer, and Kyle Garlick due up here to close out this homestand. Here are the numbers on Jack Snodgrass. He has been spectacular so far with the Rough Riders in 3 starts, 2-0, 2.12 ERA. And look at the strikeouts to walks, 19-6. This is a guy picked up from the Giants organization, and as we bring in Paul Kruger from the Texas Rangers, Paul, this is quite a find for you guys to help out this rotation.
It is. This time of year, you always need those helpers, and this guy's come in here. Started the year with us in AAA and moved down to AA after we acquired him from the Atlantic League, and has been nothing short of spectacular for this AA squad.
Well, here is Tim LaCastro to face him as we're about to get underway here on a gorgeous day in Frisco. Big lefty winds and fires his first, and he starts with a strike. Snodgrass, 28 years of age, out of Bowling Green, Kentucky. Played his college ball at Austin Peay State. LaCastro bunts it foul. And quickly 0-2 on the leadoff man, who's had himself a nice series. 2 extra base hits last night. The overall numbers on him in 31 ball games since coming up from Rancho Cucamonga. Snodgrass has him set up here, throws a sinker, change, and slider. Changeup is his bread and butter. And he fires one way outside LaCastro there. 1-2. Another one off the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes on LaCastro. 3 right-handed batters due up against Snodgrass to open the ball game. Snodgrass has held righties to a 154 batting average in his 3 starts with the Rough Riders.
I think it speaks to that changeup you were talking about earlier, and he's tried to throw it the last 2 pitches, and he's kind of a little bit behind it there, not getting his arm out front.
Jammed him. Fly ball out to left field for Jackson. And he's got it. One away.
That's good. You know, big thing is arm slot there, and it's where's your release point. We talk about it a lot in the minor leagues, and first 2 fastballs, he got it out front, ran it in on that righty, And then in that changeup, he tried to do a little bit too much and try to be too perfect. And you saw his arm kind of lag there. Got back in there with a fastball, got a quick out to left, and hopefully get a quick out here for second out of the inning.
So the Castro put away for Kyle Farmer, who has caught the first 2 games of this series, getting the half day off today, DHing. Another righty batter, another good Dodgers prospect. First one misses. This is a really talented Tulsa team, maybe more prospects in the Dodgers organization on this Drillers team than any other in their system.
Well, they've really loaded up the last couple of years, the Dodgers. They've done a good job over there, not only acquiring big league talent, but also minor league talent. I think that goes a long way. You know, we saw some of the trades we've made in the last couple of weeks, and a lot of that has to do with the players we have in our system. We talk about championship level players, and that's not just at the big league level. It's developing them at the minor league level as well.
2-0 pitch. Make it 3 balls and no strikes on Farmer. 267, 4 homers, 28 runs batted in for Farmer. 0 for 4 yesterday for Kyle. He's hitless in the series. Take it all the way there. It's a strike. Snodgrass made his last start against Springfield here at home. It was his home debut. 5 innings, a run, no decision. He did walk 4, but struck out 7 for the second time in 3 outings. Fastball and a ground ball. Marte up with it. Strong, true throw, and Farmer is put away. There's Luis Marte. What a defensive player he is.
Oh, he's been tremendous. And 2 years ago, and really when we first signed him and he played in the DSL, he was more of an offensive-oriented guy. He ran into a lot of balls, showed some pop, and really we were hoping the defense would come around. And I think it definitely has, where he's turned himself into above-average defender at short. And now it's kind of the bat's playing a little catch-up. And he's had a tremendous year this year. He's a guy that's really jumped on the radar coming up here into Double-A. And if he can continue to stay healthy, really I think the sky's the limit. And this kid could be, an everyday guy at shortstop for a major league team at some point.
Yeah, missed almost 2 months. Sort of a fluky injury. Was hit by a pitch, but batting .285 this year. 1-1 now on Garlick. The left fielder batting .289. 7 home runs, 33 runs batted in. Just underway here in Frisco. Snodgrass trying to work a 1-2-3 inning. It's a swing and a miss. Snodgrass made 4 appearances, including 2 starts for AAA. Came down on August the 2nd. And since that point has the 10th lowest ERA in the Texas League. 2.12. Comes back home. And a foul ball. Look out, Paul.
Brought my glove, so we're good to go.
We got one up there, too.
Now we're talking. I've seen that too many times over the years. It's kind of entertaining when the ball does go into the booth. I think it was the Little League World Series the other day. They were showing John Kruk caught one. So got to be prepared. You never know.
Gorgeous day here in Frisco. 90 degrees at game time. After a couple of cloudy days. Change up off the plate, but still it beats 103, doesn't it?
Oh, you got that right. We had that stretch there. It was about 20 days in a row, 100 plus, and that's a drain on anybody.
Luckily, the Rough Riders were on the road for much of that, so we got a little bit cooler weather in Springfield and Tulsa. 2-2 on Garlick. Came back to that changeup.
And there's that good changeup again we were talking about earlier. He got a little more out in front, but still, it's not that release point he's looking for. So it's staying outside. It's not coming back across the plate.
Here comes the payoff. And a fly ball to center. A chance for Mastroianni. Another newcomer on this team. Hauls it in, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. Snodgrass works a perfect first. The Riders come to bat for the first time when we come back. No score, bottom of the first. First chance for the Rough Riders to bat here against Andrew Sopko. Here's the Rough Riders lineup. Darren Mastroianni has led off all the games he's played in, and he is doing so again today. Edward Pinto is out at right, off to a really hot start. Carson Blair, the catcher. Joe Jackson out in left field batting cleanup. Hitting 5th, Andy Ibanez DHing today. Luis Marte is at short, hitting 6th. Kyler Falefa at 3rd. Edwin Garcia at 1st, and Alberto Triunfel rounds out the starting 9 for the Rough Riders. Here comes Andrew Sopko. His first delivery to the Rough Riders this year is a strike call to Darren Mastroianni. Mastroianni in 8 games with the Rough Riders. This is his 9th. Led off every game he's played. Gets a piece of that one, fouls it off. 0-2. See the overall numbers on Darren since his arrival to the Ranger system. Guy that had big league time in parts of the last 5 seasons. It's a piece of that one, but it's a ground ball to short. Picked by LeCastro. Nice play. And Mastroianni put away for the first out. So Sopko retires the first man he faces. Here are the numbers on the Tulsa starter, who is facing the Rough Riders for the first time. 1-1, ERA of 3.94, more than a hit per inning. Sopko, making just his 4th start at the AA level, has pitched at 3 different levels this season. Started the year in Great Lakes at the low A level. It's been a long time at Rancho Cucamonga in the California League. Edward Pinto now up there, takes outside ball 1. Pinto really killing the ball for the Rough Riders, hitting .393 in 15 ball games.
That's something he's done his entire career. And even dating back to when we started scouting him when he was 14 years old in Venezuela. He actually was one of the youngest kids. I think it's kind of a funny story because he was playing in the Winter League there, the Venezuelan Winter League, before we even signed him. So you're talking about a league that, you know, is full of AA, AAA, major league players. This kid's 15, 16 years old and is out there with Denny Chavez in center field getting reps, which that really says a lot about who he is and what he can do. And the big thing is carrying the tool is right here what you're watching. It's his hit tool. And his big question mark, which has been his question mark since he's been in our organization, is can he stay on the field? And that's something you're going to say a lot. We're going to say a lot throughout this broadcast, and as you're going to see throughout the minor league system. But you got to be healthy and you got to be on the field, and that's one thing he's struggled with. So hopefully we can end up here, have a nice end of the season, get himself healthy and be ready to go for 2017, because the sky's the limit with this bat.
When he has been healthy, a .311 lifetime minor league hitter. Was the DSL batting champion his first year at .396. Gets a weak ground ball here, but that could be a hit. Calhoun, no chance. Pinto's got himself an infield single. There you go.
There he is, 1 for 1. That's what he does. He puts the ball in play. He makes things happen. He can drive a ball every once in a while to the gaps and, you know, get a little lift and get out of the ballpark. But that's his game. It's putting the ball in play, letting the ball and letting his bat do the work. Now the biggest thing is, again, can he stay on the field? Can he not get too big? Because that's been a thing too, is he's a smaller kid. He's going to have to keep his weight intact. He's going to have to really focus in on his agility so that he can be mobile out in the outfield.
Here's Carson Blair, one of the newcomers from the A's organization. He takes a strike. Split time between Midland and Frisco at the AA level, but has also played at AAA Nashville in the A's organization. Made the big leagues a year ago. Got that no batting glove look.
That throwback look.
Yeah, love that.
Now, Carson was a big pickup for us. Obviously, you know, catching wise, after we made that trade for Lucroy, we lost some catching depth, and we had to go get another catcher. And luckily, Carson was available and was able to step in right away. So he's been great since he's gotten here.
Sopko out of the stretch. Runners on the move. The pitch is low and away, and there's a stolen base for Edward Pinto. We're talking about his agility, Paul, and he must have heard you.
I'm 2 for 2 on him so far, his hit tool and his agilities. But no, he makes things happen. That's one thing as an organization you'll see here on this replay coming up is we like to be aggressive. We want to put guys in position to make things happen, make the defense make a play, and put ourselves in scoring position. So if we get a big hit here, we can go 1-0 early.
So golden opportunity for Carson Blair to cash in. Put the Rough Riders ahead early on. Big swing there. Comes up empty. Sopko trying to get out of trouble. The Rough Riders scored in the first last night. Jammed him there. And we'll try it again. Frisco came from behind an early deficit last night to take a 3-1 lead, but in a back-and-forth game, Tulsa ultimately won 7-5. The Rough Riders shut out the Drillers in game 1, 9-0, beating Tulsa for the first time this year and collecting their 5th shutout victory. It was a game started by Scott Carroll, another one of the newcomers. 2-2 up and in. Boy, that almost hit him.
Those are where you never want to see it up and in, but it's a good job getting out of the way. Now 3-2 count. Can we get a fastball here and do some damage?
Oh, serious chin music there. Well, first base is open. Joe Jackson awaits on deck for the Rough Riders. Sopko fires and gets him. So Blair down on strikes. Big second out there for the righty out of Missoula, Montana.
That was a good pitch there by Sopko. 3-2 slider down below the zone. Tough pitch there for Carson to handle.
And that's his best pitch, that slider there.
Absolutely, and he's a guy who's got a 5-pitch mix. He'll work in a cutter, really keeps our guys off balance. So it's going to be key that we look to get that fastball and look to do damage when it is up. And when you do get a breaking ball that's hanging, that we can also drive that into the gaps and make some things happen.
Mentioned that he hasn't faced the Rough Riders yet. He's had 1 start against Springfield, 2 against Midland, but has faced the High Desert Mavericks in his time down at Rancho this year. Jackson bounces a ball there. LeCastro lobs to first. That's in enough time, and the inning is over, so the Riders threaten but fail to score. And after 1, we're scoreless here on Fox Sports Southwest. No score as we hit the 2nd inning. The Junior Diamond Dancers on the dugout there. Let's set it down to Lorena, our 3rd member of the broadcast crew.
Thanks, Nathan. On Friday, September 2nd, fans will literally get a taste of everything that makes the State Fair of Texas great. The Riders will be having some State Fair fun as they don awesome Big Tex-inspired jerseys and enjoy some Midway games and some of your favorite State Fair foods right here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. So come hungry. Back to you, Nathan.
Thanks, Lorena. Can't wait for that. Can't wait for the State Fair. How about those jerseys?
Oh, they're tremendous. State Fair, I've lived here for 5 years. I have not been to the State Fair yet. The issue is it's during instructional league, so usually I'm in Arizona, but I got to make it down there this year.
No excuse is a good excuse to miss the State Fair.
And that's what we tell our players, no excuses, and here I am on the broadcast making an excuse.
No score as we start the 2nd. Jack Snodgrass, a 1-2-3 inning on 17 pitches in the 1st. Faces the dangerous Willie Calhoun to open up the frame. Lefty on lefty here. Calhoun drives one to center. Mastroianni, though, is there.
That was a great first step by Darren there. I think one thing I want to point out, too, is something that's new in the minor leagues really over the last year and a half is the abundance of shifts that have been played. You know, even all the way down to the Dominican Summer League, the Dodgers down there were playing the shift on our guys. So you're seeing more and more of it. And one thing we've realized is, you know, you got to prepare these guys to play in those different situations in those different spots, such as, you know, our second baseman, you know, Truenfeld playing in right field and seeing what it's like to see that ball off the grass, grass, and making that awkward throw. That's something that you don't see much, and you didn't see much. You can see there in the screen now is you've got Truenfeld a little more over to the left. You got your shortstop Marte as well into that 6-hole, and it's something that's really taken off, and a lot of work done by our coaches and our video scouts, even here in Frisco. Justin Aggie are putting these things together and helping our guys out.
Yeah, because you've got to have the data to know where the ball is going to be hit against these individual hitters.
Absolutely, and even at the lower levels, you play these guys so many times, you get this information. And then other times too, you see a guy such as Willie Calhoun, a left-handed power-hitting guy. More than likely, he's going to pull the ball. He's going to, and if it's on the ground, he's going to be wrapping around it. And it's going to be a weak ground ball to one of those holes. So we want to put our guys in the best position to make that play.
Ground ball from Scavuzzo. Nice play by Marte. 2 away. 5 up and 5 down for Snodgrass. And it's one thing I've noticed this year, the Rangers are doing more shifting than I ever remember seeing them in the minor leagues. It seems like a big emphasis this year.
It is, and it's something we noticed when, for example, Rugi Odor first went up to the major leagues a couple years ago, and we put him in those situations. And one thing you notice, like, he never did that when he was in the minor leagues. He never saw a ball, like I said, cross through the grass, the dirt, the grass. And here's a perfect example. Alberto Truenfeld really out in short right field, and everybody's kind of moved over towards the pull side. One thing we even tell our hitters at the lower level is we don't want this to happen. We want them to be able to control the bat, learn to hit the ball the other way, and play against these shifts while not taking away the power. So it's really kind of a mix of technique and also what we want our hitters to do, because we want them to drive the baseball, but we don't necessarily want them to just be pull hitter or just be up the middle. You've got to be a well-rounded hitter to make it in the major leagues.
And they're putting the shift on against Cody Bellinger, who is the top overall prospect in the Dodgers organization according to MLB.com. Having a fine season with 18 home runs. Snodgrass off to a good start. It's a swing and a miss there.
And that's one thing too, is your pitchers and your catchers have to understand when these shifts are being put on and how we're going to attack him to not beat the shift, but hit into the shift. And a lot of times there too, you'll see that swing. He's looking to do damage. He's looking to hit that ball pull side. He's not looking to squib it down the third base line. So we're going to put our defense in the best position to make an out in case he doesn't square it up, which is obviously what we're hoping for.
Well, he just missed there with an inside changeup. Snodgrass still looking for his first punch out. 7 his last time out. And 19 in 3 starts for the Rough Riders coming into today. Another close one. Another power hitting lefty, Edwin Rios, would be next in this inning. You'd love for him to lead off an inning and not bat with somebody on base.
Another thing with the shift I think that's interesting is a lot of times the infield will shift, but the outfield will not. And again, that gets back to the numbers like you were talking about, Nathan, and the different, I guess, probabilities you could say of a guy hitting it there. And we'll get back to that later as the game goes, because obviously we're going to be shifting a lot with these big power hitters.
Nice play by Garcia. Inning over. 6 up, 6 down for Snodgrass. Scoreless to the bottom of the second inning. Here as we open up the frame, we'll send it over to Sean Heath, public address announcer here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark, to introduce the junior PA.
Fans, turn your attention to the third base dugout and welcome this evening's junior PA announcer, Emma. She's 5 from Frisco.
Now batting for the Frisco Rough Riders, number 24, Andy Ibanez.
Oh, very nice work. One strike on Andy, coming up for the first time today. His Frisco numbers started the year with Hickory. This was a guy that skipped the high A level in his first professional season here in the States, but played ball in Cuba for a few years.
He's a guy who debuted in the Serie Nacional, which is their Cuban league, or is the league in Cuba, when he was only 18 years old. And he also appeared on the WBC team in 2013. Team that was loaded with guys throughout the major leagues, and he was one of their utility guys, really known for his bat more than his glove. But that's something we had to get him on the field, and I thought as a 23-year-old, Mike Daly, our farm director, thought the best move for him was to get him to Hickory, get him to that lower level, get him acclimated to playing baseball again after so much time off from not playing and going through the whole MLB registration process to get Cubans legalized to come to play in Major League Baseball.
Sharp out for him. And now it's Luis Marte who steps up. Well, he goes after curveball in the dirt there. Marte, an aggressive hitter, but it's been a good season for him. 285, 5 home runs, 29 runs batted in, and that's in only 58 games. So he missed about 2 months with a broken finger and hand when he was hit by a pitch in Corpus Christi. Chops one here. LoCastro on to first in time, 2 away. 2 up and 2 down for Sopko here in the second, with Isaiah Kiner-Falefa coming up, one of the real great developmental stories of the year for the Rough Riders. Playing third base where he opened the season, but he has played in other places as well.
He has. He's played all over the field. Now I was running the numbers early today because he's literally played everywhere. He's played 41 games at third. He's played 19 games behind the dish. He's really been bouncing around, which I think is huge for him and his development. And you see it more and more throughout the big leagues. Is guys don't come up there just playing one position. In our organization alone, Jurickson Profar, who's played everywhere this year and been a super utility. Joey Gallo, when he first got his call up, it wasn't at third base. You got Adrian Beltrave, and you want to find a way to get on the field, you've got to be able to play different positions. And Isaiah was willing to do that by going behind the dish and catching, which he had never done before spring training this year, and he's really taken to it pretty well.
We saw Ryan Rua play first base today for the Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Another guy moving around.
And he was moving around when he was here. I remember when he was in Hickory, right before he got called up here as a second baseman, came up here and played third for the first time.
Nice barehanded play by Calhoun, but he doesn't get it there in time. That'll see how they score that one. Could be a single, could also be an error on Bellinger. Rough Riders have the lone hit in this game so far. And they are ruling it a hit.
It's a good job of 2 strikes there. You know, kind of not battling. We don't like to use that word in our organization. We like winning. That's what we talk about. It's not battling. It's not fighting. It's winning the at-bat. And that's what he did there. He found a pitch he could hit to the other way, and stayed with it, ran hard all the way through the bag, gave a hard 90, and got himself a hit.
So 2 ground ball infield singles for the Rough Riders. This one comes here with 2 outs for Edwin Garcia, who had a great night last night, 3 base hits. And that ball gets away from Zaraga. Easy bag for Kiner Falefa down to second. And there you go. He wins the at-bat, and now he's in scoring position.
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to do. You got to win the at-bat to give yourself a chance to score runs. And we talk a lot about hard hits, winning the at-bat, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it's about scoring runs, and that's what you do when you do those things. It all leads to scoring runs, and that's what you have a chance to do here with super utility man number 2, Edwin Garcia.
I played first base today, natural shortstop. He has played second, third, first, and short this season.
And
Split
also,
his time between Round Rock and Frisco.
When he was in High Desert for a little bit, he actually caught. He got some time behind the dish, not in a game, but in the bullpen. And again, he saw an opportunity.
It's ball well here. Garlick going back, and he's got it. Nice play by Kyle Garlick in left field to retire the side. Good wood from Garcia, but can't drive in the run. We're still scoreless to the 3rd here in Frisco. Nothing to the 3rd inning here in Frisco. The 2017 All-Star Game is headed to Frisco. The showcase will be held on Tuesday, June 27th at Dr. Pepper Ballpark and feature top prospects from the Rangers, the rival Houston Astros, the World Series champion Kansas City Royals, and 5 other MLB teams. See the future MLB stars like Elvis Andrus, Jurickson Profar, and Nomar Mazara now. For more information and to lock in your 2017 All-Star Game tickets, visit ridersbaseball.com today. Good little pitcher's duel so far. Jack Snodgrass, 6 up and 6 down for the Rough Riders. Faces the lower third of the lineup here for Tulsa. But it is a dangerous group, 1 through 9. Edwin Rios leads off. First pitch swinging. A fly ball to center. Darren Mastroianni another chance. And he's got it. His 3rd put out.
Pitcher's best friend right there. First pitch out.
28 pitches now for Snodgrass through 2 1/3. And up comes Sean Zaraga. Turnaround bat, right-handed here, the switch hitting catcher. Zaraga getting his first start of the series. Batting .310 in 23 games. 6 extra base hits, all of them doubles. Good swing and a miss there. Zaraga was 1 for 2 against the Rough Riders in his lone start last weekend up at One Oak Field. He started the Sunday day game. Rough Riders lost that ball game. Swing and a miss again. Lots of whiffs and misses here for Snodgrass.
Doing a good job here in this 3rd inning, going right after him. You talked about 7, 8, 9 hitters, and you don't want to get these guys on base for that potent offense at top of the order. And he's going right at him. If you're going to get beat, you're going to get beat with the hit, not with the walk, and that's what he's been doing.
0-2 on Zaraga. Tries that changeup again outside. The Tulsa lineup 2nd in the league in batting average, 2nd in on-base percentage, runs scored, homers and the best ERA in the league. This is a dangerous team if they can sneak into the postseason. Just missed out on the first half title to Springfield, but the Drillers coming into play today are a game and a half behind Northwest Arkansas, who won earlier today, shutting out San Antonio. Drillers have outscored the Rough Riders 51-26 in the season series, but the hit totals have been close. It's been the home run ball that's really been the difference. Swing and a miss. Down goes Zaraga. First strikeout of the day for Jack Snodgrass.
That was a good off-speed pitch there, below the strike zone. Again, you know, we talk a lot about you want to make that pitch miss over the plate. You don't want it to, below the zone, on the corners, nothing too far out. And you saw in the 0-2 pitch, the 1-2 pitch, those pitches weren't close. Those were non-competitive misses. That was a great pitch below the strike zone that was tough to hit. And if he was going to make contact, it was either going to be a foul ball or a ground ball, and that would be a quick out.
Now Joey Curletta stands in, the number 9 batter. Snodgrass trying to complete one time through the order perfect here. Curletta, dangerous hitter with power, but so far at AA level hasn't hit for much average. With 3 homers in 17 games. Has one against the Riders. Way off the plate there. That's what you'd call the non-competitive miss, right?
Let's see if Jack can get it back together here. Obviously, with the 9-hole hitter up, you got that potent top of the order with LeCastro and Farmer. Let's see if we can get back into the count here and get a ground ball out.
Curletta does have 7 walks in 17 games, and he's got 8 now. His first walk handed out by Snodgrass, who walked 4 his last time out, but only 1 in each of his first 2 outings with Frisco.
And that's been his bugaboo throughout his career. It's that command, and it's commanding his fastball. It's, he has a good sinker. You can see that with his ground ball outs. He's got a good changeup, but it's throwing those competitive pitches and letting his pitches do what they're capable of doing. I think you see it a lot, even in the big leagues. Guys will have plus stuff, as we call it, which is above average pitches, but they're afraid to attack hitters. And when that happens, they get into hitter's count. And when a hitter's 2-0, it's that thing looks like a beach ball. And speaking of beach ball, it may go into the lazy river out there. So that's what we're trying to avoid as a pitcher. And Danny Clark does a good job, of our pitching coordinator, of preaching first pitch strikes. Get ahead in the count. And that's going to give you a chance to use your entire mix and to be a little more selective on what you're doing and be an aggressive pitcher, not a defensive pitcher.
Well, he starts LeCastro out with a strike. Misses there. LeCastro's first time up flew out to left field. So no hits yet for the Drillers, but they do have their first base runner. Comes here in the 3rd inning. The Rough Riders have a pair of hits offensively. Oh, pickoff move. Nice catch from Garcia. That ball almost got away. Carson Blair behind the dish, throwing at about 30% of attempted base stealers in his time in the Texas League. Snodgrass has only allowed 2 steals in his 3 starts. This time he comes home, and a dribbler. Triunfel gets it there in time, inning over. Another hitless, scoreless inning for Jack Snodgrass. Offense comes back up when we come back here on Fox Sports Southwest. Bottom of the 3rd, Rough Riders trying to break through here against Andrew Sopko. They have a couple of hits so far, but Rough Riders unable to cash in so far. Alberto Triunfel will lead things off. And then back to the top of the lineup, Darren Mastroianni and Edward Pinto. Frisco so far 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position today. Here's Triunfel. Versatile infielder for the Riders. Playing second today. Triunfel last played on Friday night. Had the day off last night. Fouls one here. Paul, another one. Almost.
Oh, it's getting closer, though.
You know, Triunfel is the guy that keeps almost hitting us this year. We've had 2 foul balls off the bat of Triunfel make it into this booth this year.
Wow. Let's hit it that hard that way. Over the fence.
Yeah, there we go.
The other fence. There we go.
That'll work. That'll get down. Base hit. First hit to leave the infield for the Rough Riders today, and it comes from their 9-batter. Both teams get the 9-man on. Frisco's here comes to lead off an inning.
I think that's big for Alberto. Obviously, he struggled this year with the bat, and it's something he can really pick it. And he's always been able to play great defense, and he's an average runner, but that bat has always been his bugaboo. And if he can get that going here in 2017 and beyond, he could be a good utility type player for a major league club.
So Triunfel aboard, and it's back to the top of the lineup. Veteran Darren Mastriani. The Riders put a play on. They have been very aggressive since the departure of so many of their power bats in putting plays on with runners at first. We had, in the span of 3 days, Lewis Brinson traded to the Brewers along with Luis Ortiz. Ryan Cordell go down with an ankle injury, and Ronald Guzman promoted to AAA. Offense lacking the power it once had. There's a ground ball, and it could be 2. LaCastro shovels on to first, double play. So leadoff single is wasted here. The bases are cleared up, and Edward Pinto's coming up.
I think you mentioned too, like, you know, we've lost a lot of players in this club, but you know, part of our job as a minor league staff and really as a scouting staff is to develop championship level players in the major leagues, whether that comes through our system or if it's from an outside source. And you know, we credit a lot to our player development staff and developing these guys to be players that other organizations will want. Not everybody can make it to the major leagues with our club. We have 25 spots on that club, but there's 29 other clubs, and we tell our players that all the time: is you're not just playing for us, you're playing for every club out there, and you need to give it all at every minute of every game, because you never know who's watching. And that one time where you don't hustle, that one time where you lollygag in the outfield and it leads to a double, that may be the difference between you getting a shot to go to the big leagues and not.
Edward Pinto trying to extend the inning. Still no score in this one. Pinto last night, his 6th time in 12 games with multiple hits, and is set up to do that again today with a single in the first. Shop goes 2-2. There's a hard hit ball, but Calhoun is there, positioned perfectly. For the 2nd time tonight, Calhoun catches a laser hit to him. And Sopko faces the minimum. No score to the 4th here in Frisco. We've hit the 4th. No score. Good pitchers duel so far. Let's send it back down to Lorena.
Thanks, Nathan. Sunday, September 4th is pitch night here at the ballpark. Join us for an unforgettable postgame show where fans take the field for fireworks, free popcorn, and the opportunity to watch the premiere of Fox's new TV show, Pitch. Visit ridersbaseball.com now for tickets. Back to you, Nathan.
Thanks, Lorena. Jack Snodgrass going back to work here in his 4th inning of work. Fans enjoying the nice day. A few scattered out in the berm. A great weather it's been here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark this weekend. Crowd of over 10,000 last night. Enjoying an 81-degree game time temp. Today at 90 degrees.
It's unbelievable. 81 in August.
August 21st. Hard to believe we're already here, but here we are.
It does fly by, doesn't it? I mean, it seems like just yesterday we were sitting here on opening day.
2 more weeks left of the regular season here at the minor league level. No hits allowed for Snodgrass so far. Fires it a strike to Kyle Farmer, who grounded out his first time up. Rough Riders have all 3 hits in the game. Big lanky left-hander fires in low. This is a guy that, in Snodgrass, that was a midseason all-star twice at the AA level in the Giants system. Originally a 27th rounder. There's another ground ball. Marte picks it cleanly. Throw to first high, but Garcia with a tag. Yes, sir. What a play.
It's a great play, especially from a guy that usually doesn't play first base.
Garcia still Walking away from this play, it looked like banged up a little bit as we get another look at it.
Does a good job by Marte coming to get that ball. And, not hit hardly. Got the #2 hitter who has good speed and made a nice play. And Edwin finished it off over there and looked like maybe his shoulder. But
yeah, looked like the momentum of the runner there just jerked his arm around. Jacob Newbern is out there, along with manager Joe Mikulik, looking at Garcia. The Rough Riders right now playing with 14 pitchers and 11 position players, have only 2 bench guys. Today it's Alexei Spell and Kellen Deglin. They need to make a change here as we get another look. Oof. Full speed there. Hal Farmer running through the bag. If they do need to make a change, they probably have to pull Carson Blair's catcher's gear off, put him over at first where he played last night.
That would be my guess. He may do that, or you can move. You got Joe Jackson, who's played there before. A couple of moves that you could make, and that's one of the difficult things about minor league baseball. It's obviously you're playing with 14 pitchers usually because of the pitch limits, the innings limits, so on and so forth, that you have to make some decisions such as this. And hopefully we don't have to get to that today. Hopefully it's just a little stinger and he's okay, but we'll have to see here.
Well, it looks like he's going to stay out there and try to fight through it here.
Tremendous play.
Yeah, anyone who knows Edwin Garcia knows that he's going to try to fight through it. He's gamer.
Absolutely. And he's a guy who's he's been given a lot of opportunities, but at the same time he's earned them. He comes in every spring training having to earn and win a job, and he's done it year in and year out. He's a true consummate pro that every manager loves to have. And I know Mick every spring training is fighting hard for Edwin to be on his club.
Here's Kyle Garlick. He flew out to center field his first time up. One out in the inning. Snodgrass has still allowed just 1 base runner. 2-out walk in the 3rd. Rough Riders trying to win their first series against Tulsa. They came into this set having not beat the Drillers this year. Shut them out 9-0 on Friday. A chance to win their 2nd straight series here at home. (2-0) now on Garlick. Rough Riders have also won all 3 starts that Snodgrass has made. He has done this pretty much every time out, keeping him in the game.
I think that's huge, especially at the AA, AAA level as you go. You mentioned how many changes we've had on the pitching staff and really even position player wise too. And you need those steady arms that'll go out there, give you 5 or 6 innings, night in and night out, because it's a grueling schedule. And if you can't get a starter that will give you that length, it's going to tax your bullpen.
2-1 gets a foul, strike 2. Garlick a strikeout candidate, almost 1 per game, and Snodgrass 1 strikeout on the night. If you like pitching, we're off to a great start today. And even better there. 2nd strikeout of the day for Snodgrass.
There's that changeup we've been talking about all night. He finally got one out front, got that good release point, and it just died at the below the zone there. And again, as we talk about, sorry Nathan, there is it's over the strike zone. It starts as a strike and drops off the plate there, and that's a tough pitch, and that's what he gets that strikeout.
Here's Willie Calhoun coming up. The big shift is on again. You mentioned his release point. It's something he's talked about. When he loses his command, that's the issue usually. As Calhoun slams one foul. But with a guy like him and anybody like him that has that or lower arm slot, 3/4 arm slot, is that a tougher thing to find that release point than it is for a true overhand guy?
It is tougher. Being a long, lanky guy, it's a little bit lower arm slot than normal, and which is good because it helps provide some deception, which is hard for the hitter. But it's repeatability, especially when you're trying to throw off-speed pitches. It's not just the same pitch, but the good ones can repeat it. You look at Chris Sale, who's got that little lower arm slot, that crossfire delivery, and he can repeat from that same slot. So out of the hand, the hitter doesn't know what's coming. and they see it late, and that's what we're trying to get with Jack. And when he's on, it's tough to hit, as we've seen. It's it's ground balls, it's quick outs, it's swing and miss with the break, with the changeup. The stuff's there. It's just, can we get him to command and continue to repeat time in and time out with that release point?
And again, in a day and age with mid-90s velocity being so standard, Snodgrass is a guy that might not hit 90 in an individual start.
Much like Claudio. One thing Claudio does really well is he's able to repeat his delivery. That changeup comes out of the same slot as his fastball. His slider comes out of the same slot, as his fastball, and that makes it tough on the hitter. So it really doesn't matter how hard you throw if you're deceptive, and every pitch looks the same out of the hand.
Calhoun's second in the league in homers. He flies one here, but it's not near deep enough. And it's another 1-2-3 frame for Snodgrass. 4 no-hit innings. We're still scoreless on Fox Sports South. Scoreless game to the bottom of the 4th inning. Rough Riders will bring a good part of their lineup up for the second time today against Andrew Sopko. 3, 4, and 5 hit here in this inning. Carson Blair, Joe Jackson, and Andy Ibanez. Nathan Barnett with you here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark alongside Paul Kruger, the Assistant Director of Player Development for the Texas Rangers. Kind enough to pull himself away from his work to join us here on a beautiful day in Frisco. Thanks,
Absolutely.
Paul.
This is fun. It's fun to be up here, talk about our guys, and see Frisco in action. It's been a good game so far.
It has been. Blair struck out his first time up. The only strikeout for Sopko first time through the lineup. Book on Sopko, lots of strikes coming in, and we've seen it so far. First 3 innings, 40 pitches, 30 strikes.
He's been using that mix and that keeping our hitters off balance. We really haven't hit too many balls hard. I think I've got 2 down as hard hits, and 2 of the 3 hits were infield singles. So we got to get something going here. And like you said earlier, it's not much power in this lineup, so we have to make things happen. And Joe Miklik, our manager, has done a good job of that, hitting, running, and stolen bases, bunts, trying to put pressure on the defense. And that's what this club's going to have to do to win.
Well, 3-0 on Blair, who's got some pop in his bat. A little green light here, maybe?
I'd probably put up the one finger to take a pitch.
We saw Willie Calhoun hit a home run last night in a 3-0 count for Tulsa. Well, now he's ready.
Here we go. And speaking of Willie, Willie's got more home runs than the team combined. So that's another thing. We've got to manufacture runs.
Big rip and a miss there.
He's looking to get a run there.
Trying to hit that short porch in the diamond deck and left. So Sopko's worked himself back into the count here at 3-2. Leadoff batter of the 4th. Right-hander comes home. And a pop-up. That one's back behind the dish, though. No chance for Zaraga. Blair stays alive. Payoff pitch again. And there's a walk, first of the day. Leadoff runner is aboard for the 2nd straight inning. Rough Riders hit into a double play in the 3rd. See what they get going here with Joe Jackson. He's been one of the best hitters with runners on base for the Rough Riders this year, especially when they're in scoring position, batting .363 in those spots. 0 for 1 today, grounded out with a runner in scoring position in the 1st.
It's a good job by Blair there, too. Obviously got to a 3-0 count, got 2 fastballs, one he took. Second one was a little bit up, but looked to do damage, and that's what we talk about.
Blair on the move, swing and miss, and he's safe. A little hit and run there, but Carson Blair steals a base, his first as a Rough Rider, and that is only his 6th career steal. Well, what's going on here? They got him in a rundown now. I think he thought he was out. Started walking away from the bag. Manager Joe Mikalik was pointing out at the baseline. He wants an explanation of what was going on here. I think you're right, Paul. I think he just thought he was out. Take another look and see what happened here. So he was certainly safe. And what happens immediately after? Did he try to call time?
And he stays on the bag. It's.
Oh, he just got up and walked away. Just thought he was out, I guess.
Oh.
The second pitch to Joe Jackson misses. We're even. 1 ball and 1 strike. And he cranks this one foul. Well, you know, they say that you're going to see something new every time you come to the ball game. And I can't remember the last time I've seen that one.
That was a first for me.
So much for the 6th steal. It goes down officially as a caught stealing for Blair. Swing and a miss, but a drop third strike, and Jackson will have first base here at a wild pitch. Well, 2 funky things happening almost back to back. Too bad, too. Blair would be at third base right now if he had been able to stay on second.
It was an unfortunate situation. I think it gets back to he doesn't steal many bags and anticipated that he was out. And that's one thing you shouldn't do. I mean, stay on there until that umpire tells you, hey, you're out, walk on back. But unfortunately, we lost a runner in scoring position. But let's see if Andy can get us back here.
Ibanez lined out hard to second base his last time. Head of the count now, 1-0. Officially ruled a pass ball, by the way, on Zaraga. Not a wild pitch. It's his second of the year. Wheels are turning now. 2-0 on Ibanez. Even though there's not a ton of power in this lineup, this is a guy that, if you look at the numbers, maybe underrated. 5 homers with the Rough Riders, but 12 for the year, 7 with Hickory.
And he's a guy who's going to look to get a fastball here and do damage. And if that does happen, you know, he can't hit the ball out of the ballpark like you mentioned. He had a little run there in Hickory right before he got called up, where he went 7 for 10. I happened to be in the ballpark, 7 for 10 with 3 home runs and 2 doubles. So he can drive the baseball, and that's his carrying tool is his ability to hit. And he's still learning the ins and outs of his footwork and his play at second base. And if that comes around, we may have something here. But he's really made a lot of improvements in his first year in minor league baseball.
2-2 now on Ibanez. Good pitch there from Sopko.
It's a real good pitch, and it's something we talk about too. It may seem different.
Runners on the move and a foul ball.
It may seem different, but we don't want him to kind of give up and try to make contact on that 2-1 pitch. If he's going to swing and miss there, that's okay, because you can live to see another day. Whereas if you stay in there, kind of reach for it just to make contact, when you're in an advantage count, that just leading to an easy ground ball out. We want you to live for another pitch. It's 2-2 now, and you can still do damage and look to drive in a run.
Stays alive again.
And that's
Long battle.
That's one thing. Odubel Herrera, who was playing here for a while, he did really, really well, and he's continued to do it well, very well for the Philadelphia Phillies. And when he swung and missed, he swung and missed. He didn't try to make contact when he was ahead in the count. He would look to live for another pitch and see what he could do on that next pitch.
Runners moving again. Called strike 3, and the throw down, they got him. Double play. That ends the inning, so the Riders run out of a couple of outs in this frame, and we go to the 5th, still scoreless here in Frisco. Riders lawn tickets, including a Riders souvenir and a hot dog for Sunday through Thursday games, can be purchased for just $7 at Kroger. Visit RidersBaseball.com for a list of participating Kroger locations. Rough Riders and Drillers, nothing tied to the 5th inning. Jack Snodgrass so far no hits allowed. Just 1 base runner on a walk. That's been it. The Rough Riders have had some chances, but haven't been able to cash in yet. And Nathan Barnett, Paul Kruger from the Texas Rangers with you here. Paul, what has Snodgrass been able to do so far tonight?
He's been able to really command his pitches better than he has before, and really, we use the term effectively wild. He's been getting ahead in the counts, and he's been able to nibble a little bit when he gets ahead and get weak ground balls. And I think that's really been leading to success. One thing we talked about earlier in the broadcast too was his release point. Can we get him to continue to repeat his release point. And with that 6'6" frame, it's tough. And you see guys like Chris Sale, who can do it very, very well, who's got that long, lanky arm action. If we can get Jack to do that, he's got a chance.
Well, he starts with a strike to Jacob Scavuzzo. 54 pitches, 30 strikes so far for Snodgrass. Scavuzzo grounded out his first time up to third base. A little low there, 1-1. Scavuzzo, Bellinger, and Rios. A righty and two lefties due up. There's Bellinger, top Dodgers prospect. There's another lazy fly ball. Fell calls off his teammates. He's got it. One away. Not a lot of long battles today so far for Snodgrass.
No, that's good. You want quick outs. That means they can go longer in the game and deeper in the game and save your bullpen. Especially this late in the season, that's huge because guys are starting to get worn down and starting to really battle to get through the 140-game season here. So he's doing a good job of keeping us in the game, giving us a chance to win night in and night out.
Here's Cody Bellinger. That big shift is on again. Bullpen quiet for now.
There's that shift we talked about again. The outfield is in standard position, whereas the infield is heavily skewed to the right side of the infield. Truenfell battling with the sun it's gonna be a tough play for him, but it's something he's gonna have to get used to because you're gonna see more and more of it as we go. And the advanced metrics, as you may read about from time to time, really points towards these things, and it's something we've become more accustomed to, and not just the major leagues but the minor leagues. And Todd Slavinsky, our director of analytics, does a good job of putting our guys in the position that they need to be successful.
Hard hit, and that is a fair ball. Into the corner it goes for Pinto. This is triple territory for a lot of players, but it'll be a double for Bellinger here. And it's the first hit of the ball game for Tulsa. The no-hitter is no longer for Jack Snodgrass. And now, more importantly, he needs to get out of a jam with a runner in scoring position for the first time today.
That was a pitch there you saw in the replay. He missed his spot. He was supposed to go outer half with his breaking ball there. It ran back over the plate, and Bellinger did what he did there and hit a hard line drive right down the first base line.
16th double for Bellinger. 35th extra base hit of the year. Now it's Edwin Rios, another dangerous hitter. Way out in front, strike one. Rios a flyout picks him his first time up. First runner in scoring position of the day for Tulsa. Line drive, center field. Mastroianni makes the catch. Bellinger's headed to third, and he'll get there. So a productive out, but the big second out for Snodgrass, and now he can just get Zaraga and get out of this inning unscathed.
A lot of putouts for Darren today in center field.
Yeah, he's been busy out there. And we got 4. One in every inning but the fourth. Two gone for Zaraga. The switch hitting catcher struck out his first time to the plate. Still no score here in the fifth. Number 9 batting Joey Curletta on deck. Zaraga out of Aruba. One of the older players on the roster. Swings and misses here. It's 1-1.
It's a good pitch there. He's been very aggressive, Zaraga, in his first 2 at-bats, and really keeping him off balance with his breaking ball and his changeup have been a success for Jack so far.
Changeup in the fastball count. Fooled Zaraga. Runner at third. Best chance for Tulsa of the day. Big pitch here, 2-1. Snodgrass deals, and he gets a strike on the foul ball.
That was a good pitch there. It was a 2-1 count. The hitter's looking to be very aggressive and do damage. The pitcher typically in those counts is going to be more defensive. They don't want to give up a hit. They don't want to really leave a pitch over the plate. And he did a good job of burying that fastball inside and not allowing him to get that pitch out front and hit it hard.
What we got coming here? Another changeup?
That's what I would throw. That or throw a little slider to his back foot. It's like changeup.
Changeup away for a ball. Got first base to give. Curletta on deck. Doesn't have to come to him here. There's Curletta, walked his first time up. Here's the payoff. Ball 4, his second walk. So he's walked the number 8 batter and the number 9 batter. But he's got a new slate here to work with to face Joey Curletta.
This is a big pitch for Jack here. Get strike one. Get ahead in the count, especially with your 9-hole hitter up. You don't want to get him into an advantage count for a hitter where he can look for that fastball. He can look for something up over the plate. Get ahead, get strike one, and let's get a ground ball and get out of here.
Curletta hasn't seen a strike yet. Drew a 4-pitch walk his first time up. And ball gets away from Blair. Here comes the run. First of the day for Tulsa. And it comes across on what I think here will be a pass ball.
Looked like he may have been crossed up there.
Slider down and in. Tulsa gets a run in without a hit with a runner in scoring position. It is a pass ball on Blair. So an unearned run for now. And the Drillers strike first, coming here in the 5th inning. Well, that one stings.
Yeah, that was a big play there. It's either cross up or it was just a slider that slid a little bit too much, and Carson wasn't ready for that. It's a big play. We talk about our catchers being walls back there, especially with the runner on third.
Back to the plate with a 1-1 outside, 2-1, and not the sharpest command for Snodgrass here the last couple of batters. Talked about it, Paul, being effectively wild, a little ineffectively wild here the last couple of batters. See if you can get back in it.
Absolutely. He's been behind in the count. These guys have been in hitters' counts. Obviously, they haven't done much damage in those counts, but it adds the pitches. It makes it. They've seen more pitches is what I guess I'm trying to say, is that hitter gets comfortable up there. They've seen the slider. They've seen the changeup. They understand you're having a difficult time throwing your fastball for a strike where you want it. And that gives the hitter an advantage. They can sit one pitch, look for something up, and something to drive.
Another chance for him to get out of the inning. 2 strikes on Curletta. Good take there from the right fielder. And the count is full. Long inning for Snodgrass here. He's approaching 20 in the frame.
That was a really good pitch, but that's a pitch if you're ahead in the count or you've been throwing a lot of strikes, it's a pitch you may chase. Now you've been wild this inning. You haven't been able to throw that pitch for a strike this inning. It's more apt to take it like he did.
3-2 is cranked to center. That's a base hit. Here comes Zaraga. The throw from Mastroianni is in time. He's out of there. Great throw by Darren Mastroianni. His second outfield assist already with the Rough Riders, and it helps him get out of the inning. Single, but no RBI for Curletta. One comes across for the Drillers. And we go to the bottom of the 5th, 1-0. Bottom of the 5th, Rough Riders down by a run. It is 1-0 Tulsa. Getting a run across in the top of the 5th, so Frisco having to play from behind. They've been a great come-from-behind team this year, and had some chances so far, but nothing showing for it yet. No runs on 3 hits. Andrew Sopko pitching pretty well so far. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. All 3 hits singles, and only 1 has left the infield. And his first start against the Rough Riders, his 4th as a Double-A pitcher. He'll face Luis Marte, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and then Edwin Garcia batting here in the 5th. Sopko, the 22-year-old, just turned 22. 2 weeks ago as of today. Marte grounded out his first time up. He'll lead off for Frisco here in the 5th. Strike 1 call. Well, Marte, a guy we talked about first time up, Paul, that has had a great year. That I think already can prove himself pretty capable in the field in the big leagues. So when you talk about the outlook for a guy like him, and this is his 6th professional season, at what point do the Rangers risk losing him? How does all that work for those unfamiliar with it?
I think that there's a lot of that risk. I think, especially when you're talking about a shortstop, a guy that can really pick it. A guy, you know, when you catch him on the right night, that bat can be special. Speaking of him individually, one thing we're working on is, can we get him into that good position to hit, to be able to read and realize what pitch is being thrown every single time. He's a very aggressive hitter, obviously not right there, but typically it's early in the count swinging. And we want him to do that when it is the right pitch, but he's got to be in a position, a ready position to hit, to be able to make that decision.
So 1 gone, 4 strikeout for Sopko, and Kiner-Falefa steps up.
Yeah, decisions like that in the offseason, you're talking about whether or not to protect him for the Rule 5 draft or even free agency, like we have some players here that are up for free agency at the end of the year. There's a lot that goes into it. It's, you know, you only get 40 spots on the 40-man roster. From there, you get 37 spots on the AAA roster. On the AAA roster, what that means is you get to protect another team from taking your club unless they're going to put them in the major leagues. So, for example, if we protect 37 guys on the 40-man roster in the offseason, and we want to go get somebody like we have Sean Tollison, who was a waiver claim, or Delino DeShields, I guess, is a better example of a guy that was Rule 5 draft eligible, was not protected on the major league roster by the Houston Astros, and we claimed him off their AAA roster, and he went straight to the big leagues. Kind of the crazy rules with that are, if you do select them in the Rule 5 draft, they have to stay up there all year. And that's the tough part. And that's the decision that, you know, we have to make as a front office staff, is, do we think this guy's ready to play in the big leagues for the entire year if we are to select one of those guys? And on the flip side, for guys such as Marte, do we think if he does get picked by another club, he will be able to stick for the entire year? And that's where that kind of game gets played. You talk to your scouts, you talk to members of the front office, you talk to the coaching staff that see him every single day, and you really have to get a true evaluation of these guys to make that call.
Nice knock there from Garcia. 2-out base hit for the Rough Riders, their 4th hit of the day. Garcia, who had 3 hits last night, picks up his 4th hit of the series. 2-out base runner for Alberto Triunfel. And just going back to that, you hear 5 years, you hear 6 years, you hear 7 years with the roster decisions. How does all that work?
There's a lot of things that go
into
a guy that signs after their 18th birthday, they get 4 years to play in the minor leagues before they go on to the or to be eligible for the Rule 5 draft. And then after that, they'll get 3 years of eligibility in that draft. Guys that are signed prior to, I guess I should say their 19th birthday, I'm sorry, they get 5 years and then they're eligible. So guys such as Alberto Truenfeld, who signed when he was 16, he gets a little more time to develop. But at the same time, they're 21 years old when you're making these decisions on whether or not you think they can help that ball club, which at times can be difficult. And a lot of work has to go into making that decision. But the way our organization works, we've done a good job of I think, of identifying that talent. Obviously, a guy like Odubel Herrera, who we lose in the Rule 5 draft last year, is a guy that's had a lot of success. But the way we look at it, it's not a loss for us, it's a gain for him. Would he have had those opportunities with us to play in the big leagues and make an impact? Possibly. But at the same time, that opportunity was there for the Phillies, and it wasn't there in that particular 2016 year for us, and 2015 year for us, and that's why we let him be eligible to be chosen by Philly.
Well, and like you talked about earlier, creating championship players that can go on and be productive with other teams is only good for the organization. With the runner on the move here, and he's out of there too. Another caught stealing. That's the third of the last 2 innings, and that ends the frame. The Rough Riders turned away in the 5th. It's 1-0 to the 6th here at Frisco. To start the 6th inning with the Rough Riders down 1-0, and we send it down to Lorena.
Thanks again, Nathan. The Choctaw Lazy River is now open here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. This is the largest water feature in any sports stadium in the world, and we host the biggest pool parties right here in Texas. For more information on how to book your next event at the Choctaw Lazy River, or for individual tickets, visit ridersbaseball.com/Lazy River. Back to you, Nathan.
Thank you, Lorena. Paul, you made it out there yet?
Just walked by. I keep telling myself I really need to dial into the right fielder one game and do my work from the Lazy River. But it's quite the spectacle. It's awesome. I think everything you guys have done at the ballpark here under Chuck Greenberg has been tremendous. It's just a tremendous fan experience across the board.
Tim LeCastro leads off here in the 6th. The leadoff batter takes outside. Well, you're invited, Paul, whenever you want to come. It'll still be here in the offseason.
That's what I hear. Yeah, they'll have parties, right?
Ball floated to left. Diving play, Jackson. Yes, sir. Great catch. All right, Joe Jackson still trying to get his feet wet in the outfield, and he took a good route to that ball for the first down.
That was a great play coming in on it. Those line drives that are right at you, whether they're over your head or you have to come in on, are the toughest ones to read. And he got a good read on that, came in, made a nice diving, rolling catch there to get the first out. But it is something you talk about. He's just learning how to play the outfield. He's really bounced around, and we signed him as a catcher out of the Citadel. And the first day catching as a professional, he was in the bullpen, and the ball ended up hitting the wall right next to where he was set up and hit his thumb, and he broke his thumb right there. So from the start, he had a rough go behind the dish, but he's a guy that can hit. So we get back to that. If you can hit, we're going to try to find you a place to play, and that's what we've been doing the last couple of years, is working him around the ballpark.
Oh, what a stop there. Talk about a defensive play. Jack Snodgrass. How did he come up with that one?
A lot of PFP work with him and Brian Schaus, I guess.
Oh, the beauty of TV. We'll get a chance to watch that one again.
That was a great play. That was a reactionary play there. Good part about it, too, is he fielded it and was able to compose himself and throw it over to first base. So it was a nice play across the board.
Fielded it very cleanly. So 2 up and 2 down, coming off a shaky 5th. He's done it on 4 pitches. And now it's Kyle Garlick. Well, 2 great baseball names right here. Jack Snodgrass and Kyle Garlick going toe-to-toe.
Do they still have that minor league contest for the best names in minor league baseball?
Not this year. They mix it in every couple of seasons.
No, Dorr was in the finals, it seemed like, every year he was in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I remember that. And during that, a couple of years ago, I remember when he was playing in Myrtle Beach, they did a odor night, an odor night, where they had different odors around the ballpark you could smell. Right before he came up to Frisco. That was in, 2013, I guess. Swing and a miss from Garlick, 2-1. Well, Snodgrass still at a reasonable pitch count. This will be his 81st toss of the ball game. No action in the bullpen. They're 94 his last time out, 98 the time before that. 3-1.
And he hasn't been hit hard, as we've mentioned throughout the broadcast. Obviously, with only 2 hits on the board for the Drillers, but it's about being around the zone. And we got away from a little bit in the 5th, and let's see if we can get right back in here in the 6th and get this 3rd out.
Late strike call, but a strike call nonetheless from home plate umpire Reed Gibbs.
An interesting pitch here. You have your 3-hole hitter up, 3-2 count. Be interesting to see what he goes with here. Obviously, Calhoun on deck with a lot of power and potential and damage potential.
Got a swing and a miss on ball 4. Garlick down, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Snodgrass. Game moving along to the bottom of the 6th. Riders looking for their first run when we come back. Rough Riders scoreless through the first 5 innings, out hitting the Drillers 4-2, but the 1 run coming in for Tulsa on a pass ball, the difference right now. Alberto Triunfal is going to lead off for Frisco. It was left up at home plate when Edwin Garcia was caught stealing for the final out. Triunfal, Mastroianni, and Pinto to bat. And Triunfal hits a hard fly ball, but well fouled down the left field line. He was in a 1-2 count, so a new slate for him. Had a single his first time up. Andrew Sopko doing a fine job so far. 73 pitches, 51 strikes. One bins outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Darren Mastroianni to follow. Edward Pinto hits 3rd in the inning. We talked about with Snodgrass, Paul, falling behind in counts and what that does. And here we see the other side of the page, Sopko consistently getting ahead of hitters today.
Absolutely, especially with his mix. You know, Sopko can work in 5 different pitches as we line a slider, hanging slider there for a double.
Big knock there opens the inning. How about the day for Triunfal? He's got 2 hits. He's got the easy parts of the cycle done, the single and the double.
Well, that's huge. You get your 9-hole hitter on the bases there. Come up for Darren, who has the ability to really work. That was a good job there, but Darren has the ability to work a count, to drive a ball the other way, especially if we're going to play the shift here like it's looking, where the second baseman is right behind that second base bag. Can we shoot something to the right side there? Not only move the runner, but hopefully drive in a run.
Shows a bunt, pulls it back, ball 1. Mastroianni 0 for 2 today, but has already seen his impact here defensively. This was back in the 5th inning for the final out. What a throw that was.
That was a tremendous throw. He put himself into position to make that throw, and it was right on the money, and a tremendous tag by Blair there as well.
See if he keeps the bunt on here. Corners are looking out for it. 1st and 3rd coming in. He swings, and it's a lazy fly, left center. Kyle Garlick called off by the center fielder. Scavuzzo falling down to make the catch. Mastroianni 0 for 3, and that's the first out of the inning. There's the Rough Riders bullpen. Ryan Slack getting loose. Undrafted southpaw. He's had a fine season, including Rangers minor league reliever of the month in April.
See if Pinto can stay out here and drive a ball to the gap and score a run.
He's singled and lined out hard today. And he's ahead of the count now, 1-0. Rough Riders trying to get their first hit with the runner in scoring position today. Two and 0.
Here's that count again we were talking about earlier. This is a hitter's count, and it's time to be aggressive. If you get that fastball or pitch that's up that you can drive, we're looking to go to work here and drive in a run. If it's not there, it's okay. We'd live to see 2-1, and 2-1 still an advantage count.
Well, he got a pitch he wanted, just couldn't connect.
And again, that's okay. He swung through it. He didn't try to just make contact. He's looking to do damage. And when you can't do damage, that's okay. We'll see 2-1. We'll move on and get the next one.
And with the next one, he hits it hard but foul. So now protect mode for Pinto.
And again, the word that we like to use as an organization is win it. Win the at-bat. Win the 2-strike count. Don't just compete and look to put the ball in play. Let's look to drive the baseball. And that's what our whole philosophy is about, starting with Anthony Iapoce in the major leagues and carried down to Josue Perez, who's our hitting coordinator. It's look to drive the baseball. Get backspin on that ball and drive it to the gaps. And if it carries out of the ballpark, great. If not, we're looking to get an extra base hit and keep the train moving.
2-2 from Sopko. Swing and a miss. Maybe chased there a little bit. And a big couple of outs for the Tulsa righty to quiet down this inning after the leadoff double.
It's a good pitch, a little tail on that pitch. Again, ran away from Edward there and kind of stuck his bat out there. Wasn't a truly aggressive swing, but tough to do there with 2 strikes. Good
Season
pitch.
high 6 strikeouts for Sopko. And Carson Blair is next. Blair has struck out and drawn a walk. Committed a tough base running blunder in the 4th inning that helped Sopko get out of the frame as well. Good job laying off there as they appeal, but first base umpire Clayton Ham saying no. He didn't go. There's that 2-0 count again. The Rough Riders haven't had many against Sopko, but this is the 2nd of this inning.
This is a guy you want up, your 3-hole hitter and an advantage count. Can we get something done here? We've had this situation a couple times this inning and haven't been able to pull through.
2-0 pitch. Make it 3-0. Sopko fell behind Blair 3-0 last time up before he worked the count back full and ultimately walked him.
This is one of those times, 3-0 count. We've been struggling with the bat. We haven't been able to get that big hit. Now, Joe Miklik might be putting on the green light here. You get one pitch, one spot. Let's go do damage.
He takes it, and it's ball 4. So he draws his 2nd walk, and our Riders are now asked Joe Jackson to try to come through with that big hit. Tulsa bullpen quiet for the moment. Sopko approaching 90 pitches is at 87. 57 strikes and 30 balls. Saw Ryan Slack getting up for Frisco. Both starters still in the ball game for the moment. Great game between the Drillers and the Rough Riders. This is the final game of the season series. Divisional play the rest of the way. One more road trip, one more homestand. Jackson takes low and Zaraga comes for a word. The Rough Riders will head to San Antonio where they'll take on the Missions for 4 games. And then out to Midland for the final 3 road games of the season against the first place Rockhounds. And then to wrap up the home slate and the regular season starting on August the 30th, a Tuesday, as Frisco will host Corpus Christi for 4, and then over the final weekend, over Labor Day weekend, 3 against the Rockhounds. 2-0 now on Jackson. It's 6 straight misses for Sopko.
Again, with the offense struggling here, Joe's probably going to give him the green light if you get that one pitch.
He swings, but fouls it away. Frisco offense has gotten off to a good start in this series before today. 9 runs Friday, 5 runs last night. And this offense has swung the bat well at home. Averaging 7+ runs a game in their last 5 home wins. 3-1 now on Jackson.
Big thing about that 2-0 count too is you're guaranteed to have another advantage count. And that's why we want to stay away from those as pitchers. And as hitters, we want to be in it. So if we do miss that 2-0 count, we still got 2-1. They still have to come to us. And if they don't, we're at 3-1, another advantage count.
Jackson can't keep it straight again. It's another foul ball. Runners will now be in motion, 3-2. With 2 outs in the inning. Prion at second, Blair at first. Ball in the gap here, and we can flip the script, or Rough Riders will be ahead. Comes the payoff. There go the runners. And we'll try it once again.
I think Sopko's mix, even though he hasn't thrown as many strikes this inning as he has in the past, is keeping our hitters off balance. The ability to throw 4 or 5 pitches for a strike when he wants really gets the hitters to guess. And as an organization, we want them to stay on that fastball. If we get that fastball, we want to go to work. We want to hit it hard. And if not, we want to make that adjustment. We want to look out to in, drive the ball, just like that.
There's a well-hit ball into the alley. Scavuzzo doesn't get there. 1 home, 2 are home, and the Riders lead it on a 2-bagger by Joe Jackson.
Tremendous piece of hitting there by Joe. 3-2 count, 2 strikes. We're looking out to in, staying on the fastball. But if we get it, we want to drive it to left center field, just as he does there. It was a breaking ball, stayed on it. Like I said, hit it hard to left center field, and we clear the bases. We got a 2-1 ball game.
So the Rough Riders finally break through against Sopko, and it comes at a perfect time. That 3-2 count may be the difference between that second run coming in or not. And Jackson is at second, and Ibanez keeps the line moving with a high fly to left. That ball is headed out of here, and it is gone.
There's that fastball again. It's 0-0 count. He's looking for a fastball. The pitcher's a little flustered after giving up a double to score 2 and leaves a fastball down and in. Andy does what he can do and hits that fastball out front, drives it out of the ballpark.
Home run number 6 for Ibanez as a Rough Rider, number 13 on the year. Fastball middle in, and he just cranked it.
And that's what you want to do with that pitch, especially, again, that pitcher, he's a little flustered because he just gave up his first 2 runs. He's been behind in the count all inning. He just wants to get ahead. And when he tried to get ahead there, he made it too good of a pitch for a hitter, and Andy deposited in the left field.
So all of a sudden here, the Rough Riders have not only a lead, but a comfortable one. Marte swings on a 1-0. Bellinger at first base. Boy, it looked like maybe he lost the ball, but he recovers and makes the catch. The Rough Riders score 4 runs, take the lead. We head to the 7th. Frisco on top. This may be our last game on Fox Sports Southwest this season, but you can catch the rest of the Rough Riders season on MILB.TV. That's right. Watch the Ranger Stars of tomorrow today with MILB.TV, with all home games and select road games streamed live. The only place to watch the Riders on your computer, iPhone, or iPad is on MILB.TV. Visit MILB.TV today to sign up. Figure Paul's a big fan of that one. MILB TV.
Oh yeah, it's on every day.
Ryan Slack enters the ballgame for the Rough Riders. We'll take over here for Jack Snodgrass, who is in line to improve to 3-0. The offense sparking here in the last half inning, scoring 4 times against Andrew Sopko. A 2-run double from Joe Jackson and a 2-run homer from Andy Ibanez. So Slack takes over after 6 1-run innings from Snodgrass, and there are the numbers on Slack. It's been an up and down season, back and forth, but right now he's throwing the ball well. 12 of his last 15 appearances have been scoreless ones, and a guy who started out the year as good as anybody in the entire organization out of the bullpen is on here to start the 7th.
He did. He had a tremendous month of April, and coming off from a great August here in Frisco, and he got called up at the end of last year. His big thing is he does throw strikes, but at times he doesn't throw enough strikes. And we say that all the time. It's quality strikes, and his stuff is not off the charts. But at the same time, he has some deception. He's a bulldog. He'll go right after you. And he's got a changeup that is probably his best secondary pitch.
Deals with Willie Calhoun here to open the inning. Rough Riders trying to neutralize that left-handed bat with another lefty. Righty Scavuzzo, lefty Bellinger to follow. Hard hit and right through the teeth of the shift. When you hit the ball that hard, not a whole lot you can do.
Absolutely, and that was a changeup. It looked like that just hung out over the plate. Willie's bat stayed in the zone a long time and hit it hard through the hole.
So Calhoun's got his first hit. It's only the 3rd hit for Tulsa of the day. Snodgrass allowed just 2 base hits and 2 walks in 6 innings with 3 strikeouts, 83 pitches, 45 strikes, and again, he is in line for his 3rd victory. And if the Rough Riders can hang on today, when he starts, they'll be 4-0. Here's Scavuzzo, 0 for 2. Slack from the stretch. Called strike one.
Getting back to that shift, we've talked about it a bunch throughout this game, but one of the weird plays that could happen here is a ball that's hit to Edwin at first. Your second baseman more than likely is going to be covering second, because the shortstop Marte is shifted so far into that 6 hole. It's another thing that normally if you're not working on the shift you may not see and you may not be able to practice, and that's why we have to do these in the minor leagues to prepare them for when they get to the major leagues, and it's happening more and more often. They're ready to go and they're prepared for that throw, because it's different. It's a different angle. It's different footwork around the bag, and if you haven't practiced that, it's going to be tough for you to do, especially when there's 40,000 people in the stands.
1-1 to Scavuzzo. A little high for a ball. 2-1. Scavuzzo, another young up-and-coming prospect in the Dodgers system, just 22 years of age. Been with the team all year. Productive season for him. 1 on, nobody out. And Slack gets a ground ball, but it's foul. Here's a guy, Paul, that in Slack that I'm fascinated by. A guy that was never drafted. And yet not only has he made it to Double-A, but he's acquitted himself very well.
He has, and that's a testament to him. And it's something we tell our guys, whether they're drafted in the first round, the 40th round, or non-drafted free agent, that you're going to get a chance. And when you get that chance and you get a chance to be between the white lines, it's what you do from there. You control what you can control in your destiny.
2-2. I get a full count.
Big pitch here. You don't want to go first and second here with Bellinger coming up. 18 home runs this year. Already driven a ball for a double, and really you want to shut down inning. Can we get a ground ball? Would be the ideal situation. 3-2 changeup potentially, something that he'll roll over and get an easy out.
Now as Josh Spohr is working in the bullpen for Tulsa. Another foul ball. We'll have to try it again. Andrew Sopko at 97 pitches through 6, so he's probably done. Be the bullpens the rest of the way. Slack out of my favorite minor league town, 96, South Carolina.
I couldn't tell you where that is, but Chris Kemp, who was our area
96
scout.
miles from Greenville.
Really?
That's why.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. As you learn something new every day for me right there.
Slack taught me that one.
I like it, but it was a tremendous job by our amateur scouts, and these guys are huge for our organization. You've got Ryan Slack, who was an undrafted free agent, who's here in Double-A, and he's put his name on the map as being an April pitcher of the month and having success at this level. Get guys like Adam Quintana, who was a non-drafted free agent found by Rick Schroeder in a wooden bat league in California. He's come along and he's helping that high desert team out. Those guys, they have a chance. You put them in your system, they help your system grow. They help the guys that at the time are the prospects develop as well, and they can also turn themselves into a prospect. Like I said, they control their own destiny. What they do between those white lines is what leads them to where they want to be and where they can be.
3-2 still on Scavuzzo. And on the 8th pitch of the plate appearance, Scavuzzo wins out. And now here's that first and second situation with nobody out. Tying run coming up in a dangerous Cody Bellinger. Right after the Rough Riders took the lead, Slack in some hot water.
Big situation for Slack, obviously, with Bellinger up, nobody out, runners in first and second, but also for his development. He's a left-handed pitcher facing a left-handed hitter. These are the guys he's going to have to get out for him to continue to move up the chain here.
And he has so far. Lefty's batting 176. Slugging just 235. He's allowed 5 home runs this year, all to right-handed batters who are hitting 245 against him. Bellinger doubled his last time up, 1 for 2. Takes way outside, ball 1. No just-in-case action going in the Rough Riders bullpen. This is Slacks to get out of.
That's good for him. It's a test. Got to step up. These are the situations you're going to be put in at the higher level, and it's a 4-1 ball game. We just took the lead. Now, again, can we get a ground ball, a rollover ground ball out here, and get 2 quick ones?
That's hard hit. Center field. Mastroianni going back and gets there in time to make the catch. Tagging from second to third goes Calhoun. It is a productive out, but it is a big out number 1 for Ryan Slack.
That's a tremendous job by Darren there. Quick first step, turned to his left and just broke for a spot. It wasn't, I'm going to stare at the baseball, where is it, and then catch the ball. It was no. Contact, break back, get to a spot, and make the catch.
And a guy like Mastriani, 30 years of age, maybe never makes the big leagues with the Rangers, but there's a reason right there why he's in the organization, can help out your pitchers get out of innings.
Absolutely, help out our pitchers, but also help some of our younger players. We've got a lot of guys here that are learning outfield, such as Joe Jackson. You've got you got other guys in the system, not just defensively, but seeing the way he can hit. Here's what we do in the major leagues. It's, yeah, I don't have the greatest power in the world, but I can do different things. I have to be able to hit and run. You've seen him try to bunt earlier today. Those kind of things go a long way. And messages that our coaches are providing our players, messages when our Rovers come in town, what they're providing, it just adds to it when you see a player like this who's been up and down in the big leagues for the last 5 years. That can only help. Really show them, hey, I can't hit the ball out of the ballpark consistently, but at the same time, I can find a way to help my team win, give my team a chance, not only at the minor league level, but at the major league level.
Well, here's a guy who can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Rios, 5 homers here. As the throw gets away. Pickoff play gets away, and it goes into the dugout. So Scavuzzo gets not only second base, but to third base. Calhoun comes across, and both Tulsa runs now have come in without the benefit of a hit. One on a pass ball, now one on an error. Take another look at this pickoff from Slack. It looked like Garcia got a glove on it.
So it may have been a little wide, but again, those are things that we work on time and time again. But in that situation, you've got the runner on first base, first and third. You're facing a lefty. Let's go get the hitter, in my eyes. Let's go get a ground ball, get out of this inning with no damage. Now you're in a tougher situation. It's 4-2 ball game, a fly ball, and we've got a 4-3 game, 1 run. So things like that, those are learning experiences. That's something that Brian Schaus, our pitching coach here in Frisco, will probably talk to him afterwards, is understanding when a good time to pick off would be and when it's not. And for me, that's one where you can get a ground ball. You're able to do that. Let's go get one.
Big swing and a miss from Rios. Mentioned the 5 home runs here, but 27 on the year for Rios, who clobbered the ball in the Cal League. The error, by the way, on Edwin Garcia, but point still well taken. Error doesn't get made if you don't throw over there.
Exactly.
Big pitch for Slack. Good idea. Tries to get him to stretch the zone. Doesn't go. Well, what a ball game we've got here tonight. Rough Riders playing from behind, scoring 4 times in the 6th to take a 4-1 lead. Drillers have worked back into it here. A run in the 5th to take a 1-0 lead, and now a run in the 7th. There's a foul ball. Rough Riders do have the bullpen going now. Luke Jackson is warming up in the Frisco bullpen. Guy who's spent time in both AAA and the big leagues this year. One and 2 on Rios. Slack brings it. Close, but no cigar. Calhoun led off the inning with his singles, come around to score. Scavuzzo walked. He's at third. Two and 2. Fouled away. Rough Riders trying to play spoiler tonight. Midland has won, so the Riders are eliminated from winning the second half of the South Division. They still have a shot for the postseason, but they'll need a lot of help from Corpus Christi. But the Drillers right in the thick of things, needing a win to keep pace with Northwest Arkansas, who won earlier today. Another foul ball.
Tough at bat here by Rios. It's one where Slack's looking for that punch out. Obviously, any ball in play more than likely is going to lead to a run. Can we get that swing and miss here? And that's what Slack's trying to do, and Rios is doing a good job of battling and fighting and trying to win that at bat.
2 balls, 2 strikes. He got him.
It's a good pitcher's pitch right there. 2-2 fastball, down and away, gets him looking.
Rios doesn't love the call, but big call for the Rough Riders. Take another look at this one. Just how close was it? You're right, pitcher's pitch indeed.
It's a tough pitch to hit, but tremendous pitch by Ryan.
So now it's Zaraga. I noticed, by the way, you're really good at saying his first name. Which, by the way, is not Ryan. It is Ryan. R-Y-N-E. You've got it down.
It's a lot of practice over the years.
So now Zaraga, the switch hitting catcher, strikeout and a walk. He's bat right-handed all night. Snodgrass now slack 2 lefties. 1-1. You talked about the playoffs a little bit. The Rough Riders, long shot, but the High Desert Mavericks, what a year they've had, down just 1 level below the Rough Riders.
They have. They've had a tremendous year. Howard Johnson, who's our manager there, has done a good job of keeping that team together. You know, like here, they have turnover, and that's one thing that, you know, we really rely on our managers to keep that chemistry going, and they've done a great job, really led by their offense. They're putting up big numbers in a big hitting park, and that's what we expected them to do, and that's what they continue to do.
There's a fly ball to right. Long run for Pinto. He gets to the spot. He's there, and that's the inning. So Slack gives up 1 run, but gets out of things other than that, and the Riders hold their lead at the bottom of the 7th. Stretch time in Frisco. Folks having fun tonight. Home team in the lead, 4-2, bottom of the 7th. Frisco looking for another series victory, trying to cap off what would be a 4-2 homestand. New pitcher on for the Tulsa Drillers. Andrew Sopko out of the ballgame on the hook for the loss. It is Josh Spores. That is Spores, 0-1, 8-10 earned run average, facing the Rough Riders for the 2nd time. 6 2/3 innings so far in Double-A. You can see more than a hit per inning. Only 4 strikeouts, just 1 walk.
No, it's a Spores, big arm guy. You know, run that fastball, 92, 96 with that high arm slot. You know, his bread and butter, as we'll call it, is the curveball slider. He has really good off-speed pitches, so it's going to be important for our hitters to stay on that fastball. And that fastball's there, we can't miss it, because scouting report on him is he can get us out with those off-speeds.
Well, Kiner Falefa's going to lead off against him. Kiner today with an infield single and a strikeout. What an interesting season, to say the least, Kiner Falefa's had. Paul talked about it earlier, him transitioning to catcher. He missed some time with an infection in his knee. It's a guy that has played catcher and shortstop in the same game this year.
True gamer. You know, something in spring training we were trying with a couple of our guys. You know, our depth at catching right now is not what it was, say, 2 years ago when we had Jorge Alfaro and guys like that. And, you know, obviously trades happen and players move on, so we've got to find that next guy. And Kiner stepped up when we kind of threw an all-points balance and who would be interested in catching. And he stepped up. I'll try it. Let's see what's the worst thing that can happen. Went behind there and has done a really, really good job. He's caught quite a few games here, and not just with certain pitchers. He's caught everybody. When Matt Bush was here, he had a chance to catch him. You know, high velo, you know, plus off-speed offerings, and he's been just fine doing that. And I think that's good for him. And that's something going into the offseason, us as an organization are going to find new ways to get him innings, get him touches behind the dish, because that's what he's going to need. And who knows, he may be the first catcher to play in the major leagues that catches the first 5 and goes to play shortstop the next 4. But that's what he can do, and that's what makes him special, and he wants to do it. He's a gamer. He wants to be out there no matter what position he has to play.
So that's Edwin Garcia up. So with a guy like Kiner Falefa, you got the offseason coming up, and folks that maybe just pay attention to the major league season, as Garcia fouls this one away, think, all right, we got spring training, I know about that. And you go through the postseason, and then we're done, right?
Yeah. We'll see you in March.
Yeah,
that's what
right?
we tell all these guys. Have a good time. No, there's a lot of different things that are available for them to participate in. You know, for our younger guys, we'll have what we call instructional league, which roughly goes from September 10th to October 10th down in Arizona. So while we have spring training down in Arizona, this is another time where it's more work, it's more instruction. Obviously, by the name instructional league, but it's one-on-one. It's a lot of our young guys that need need to get that training to learn how we as Rangers play and learn our philosophies. So you've got that. You've got the Arizona Fall League, which starts in the middle of October. You got the winter leagues throughout the Caribbean that we like our guys to participate in. It's a chance for them to play in ruckus atmospheres. It's crazy. You go to Venezuela, you're playing in front of 10, 15,000 fans that want to win. And it's all about winning in those leagues. So those are good environments for our guys to get in, because when you get to the major leagues, that's what it's about. It's about winning. Doesn't matter how you do it, but that's what we're going to do. You also got the Australian Baseball League, which is a new thing that for a while MLB oversaw and has really taken off in Australia. Our Hickory manager, Steve Mintz, manages in that league.
Adelaide, right?
Yeah, and Kellen Daglin, who's on this club, he played there 2 years ago. So it's a good opportunity, again, to get more swings, get more touches, and really experience a new culture, which we think is huge for really anybody. And being a guy who lived in the Dominican as myself for 3 years, that gives you an opportunity to really see and really feel what it's like from where our players come.
Here comes Alberto Triunfel, 2 hits tonight. Last time up, see the damage he did here. Hard double down the left field line. Started a rally for the Rough Riders. First of 4 runs to score. He came in on the Joe Jackson double, having himself a nice day today.
Yeah, so those are those programs that are more structured. At the same time, we'll provide our guys with materials that they can use to prepare them for the next season. You know, we'll provide a handbook, an off-season manual, as we'll call it, that is kind of a, I guess you could say, a step-by-step process for what we think they can do to better themselves come March. Now, obviously, a lot of these guys have their own programs, and we'll monitor those, and we'll talk to them in the offseason and make sure that their health is where it needs to be, so that when they report in March, they're ready to go. But at the same time, it's time for these guys to relax and unwind a little bit with their friends and family, and which is needed as well.
You mentioned the Arizona Fall League. I think that's probably the most well recognized in terms of the average fan might know a little bit about that. We see those rosters here pretty soon, right?
We should. They should be coming out in the next couple of weeks, and there's a couple guys on this team that have been mentioned as a participant this year, and we should have a better idea of that here very shortly.
1-2-3 inning for Josh Spores here in the 7th. We head to the 8th. Our Riders on top by a couple here in Frisco. We begin the 8th inning. Beautiful skyline here in Frisco. Sunset here at Dr. Pepper Ballpark. Rough Riders up by a couple. We send it down to Lorena.
Thanks again, Nathan. Whether you prefer to wreck 'em, sick 'em, gig 'em, hook 'em, or boomer sooner, join us at the ballpark on Saturday, September 3rd for College Night. Wear your school colors and enjoy college throwback specials, including $1 beers. And the first 1,000 fans through the gates will receive a football, courtesy of Dr. Pepper. Let's get back to the booth.
Thank you, Lorena. College Night coming up. Paul, where'd you go to school?
I went to the University of Missouri for undergrad and Ohio University for grad school.
All right. The Tigers and Bobcats.
That's right.
Well, if you come out on Friday, be sure to wear your colors.
Which one?
You choose, both.
Yeah.
Here's Luke Jackson, new pitcher on for Frisco. Ryan Slack done after 1 inning. See the numbers on Jackson since arriving from the big leagues. Trying to right the ship. It has been a little bit of a rocky season for him.
It has, but you know, they're growing pains. He's still young. He's got electric stuff, and one of the reasons he is here right now is to work on consistency. Can he repeat his delivery? Can he consistently throw quality strikes? Get ahead in the count early with his fastball more than anything.
Misses down low to Joey Curletta.
And that's what he was doing last year when he was in the major leagues. He was getting ahead of counts, and then being able to throw his off-speed, his secondary stuff, allowed him to be much more successful. Whereas when he was up there this time, especially in his second innings of work, he would get behind. He'd be 1-0, 2-0, and it seems to be a common theme of this broadcast is when that happens, it's tough to get outs. And you're pitching defensively typically as a pitcher, and that hitter's up there looking to do damage because he knows he's ahead in the count. He's probably going to get a pitch to hit, as you saw right there with the strong single through the left side.
Well, Jackson has pitched well of late, hasn't given up an earned run in his last 4 appearances, a number of which were multiple innings outings. He has primarily been working 2 innings with the Riders, sometimes 1. Top of the lineup, 4th time through. Tim LaCastro's 0 for 3. Swung on and fouled away. Rough Riders have led since a 4-run 6th. Tulsa scored first with a run in the 5th. coming in on a pass ball. The run eventually was earned. And in the 7th, an unearned run against Ryan Slack. All 4 Frisco runs coming in the 6th. Jackson downhill. A lean but no swing, says Clayton Ham over at first base. 1 ball and 1 strike. But Jackson, this is a guy that was groomed as a starter in the minors, like most guys who make the big leagues were a starter at one point. But how do you guys make a decision when it comes to flipping a guy over and saying, you know what, you're going to be out of the bullpen?
I think there's a lot of things that go into that decision. I think in Luke's case, it was, he was struggling a little bit with his command, and as you know, as a starter, we're looking to go deep into ball games. We're looking for 5, 6, 7 innings to give that bullpen a rest. So we did. He got to AAA and struggling a little bit. Put him in the bullpen and let his stuff play. He's got an electric fastball, electric off speed, but we need to be able to throw strikes to utilize those pitches, and that's one thing that, again, he's struggled at this year, but he's starting to get it back to where it needs to be, and he's being aggressive, pounding the zone. He's got angle on that fastball. Trust it. Know that it's a tough pitch to hit when it's in the strike zone. It doesn't have to be that perfect pitch every time, and that's one thing he's really been focusing on here.
I think the folks watching at home can see the stuff, those that maybe haven't had a chance to watch Luke pitch in the big leagues, and he certainly had opportunity to do that over the last couple of seasons. Fastball in the mid to upper 90s. Hammer curveball. There's the curve, lifted to right. Pinto over towards the line, makes the catch.
It's a good pitch right there, and there's, his delivery too is not normal. He's got a lot going on. It's an aggressive, it's a violent delivery, which causes some of those issues with command. Now, can we continue to repeat that? Get that arm out in front. Stay in line with your body and not have that arm drag and your left foot really fly open, causing your arm to not get out front. Because when he can do that, he can get that angle with that fastball. It makes everything else sharp, and that's what we want. And when he's on, that's what he is.
Here's Kyle Farmer. First pitch curveball, racked out to short, and Marte can't get it. Could have been a double play ball. Instead, it's no outs. Farmer is aboard. Runners at first and second here in a 2-run game. Sharp one hopper. Marte's made those plays look routine all year long. I was surprised he didn't make it, but that's not an easy play.
No, it's kind of one of those in-between hops there. You don't know if you should go get it or wait back and get a hop, and he kind of got caught in the middle there, and it ate him up a little bit.
It is an error on Marte, his 8th of the year.
That's one of those there. You may want to take a drop step, get that big bounce that's probably coming rather than get caught in the middle there. You've got some time with that hard hit ball to, utilize that time. You don't have to be quick.
So now Kyle Garlick, 0 for 3 tonight. Swings at the first. Hard hit to right. Over Pinto for a base hit. One scores. They are going to hold the second runner. The good relay in. And it is a 1-run ball game on the double by Kyle Garlick, his first hit of the night, and the first hit for anybody in the top 3 spots of the Tulsa lineup.
One thing that we may notice as a player development staff is that cutoff. That cutoff obviously saved a run, but Pinto did a good job of playing that ball off the wall. You've got your infielders in a good line to home plate in case that throw needs to be made. Now that trail guy in that cutoff, which in this situation is that shortstop, is kind of the eyes and ears of that cutoff. Is he going to go to third on that play? Is that runner coming home, and he's got to let that second baseman, who's the lead cutoff man, know where he should throw that ball. So it was a good job by all parties getting that ball in and making that play.
They're going to intentionally walk Calhoun here and put the double play in order. And elect not to face a guy who very possibly could be the MVP of this league this year. Who ripped a single his last time up. Instead, they're going to want to face Scavuzzo. And now Paul's situation, the defense, so important.
Absolutely. This is a huge situation coming up here for the defense, for Luke, for everybody involved. Can we get a strikeout or a ground out here? Can we get something that our defense and maybe even Louis Marte, allow him to make a play here and get us back into the dugout with the lead going in the bottom of the 8th.
And depending on where it's hit, how hard it's hit, knowing what base to go to, if you're coming home, if you're trying to turn 2 up the middle. The infield plays back up the middle, in at the corners.
And knowing your runners, too. Knowing how good of a runner is Jacob Scavuzza. If he's a speed demon and it's a slow hit ball, we probably want to go home here and get that out if it's hit to the corners. Things like that. Though there's a lot that goes into each play that these guys have to prepare mentally for.
There's the ground ball. 1, 2, double play. Well, Jinx ball, we'll take it. We're going to the bottom of the 8th. Luis Marte makes the play indeed. Ground ball here off the bat of Jacob Scavuzzo. Tailor-made. 6-4-3. Inning over. Bottom of the 8th inning. Rough Riders looking for a little bit of insurance before we head to the 9th. It'll be the top of the lineup due up. Frisco a come-from-behind effort tonight, and so far hanging on despite runs in the 7th and the 8th from the Tulsa Drillers. Darren Mastroianni leads off 0 for 3. Edward Pinto and Carson Blair to follow. Josh Spohr is back to work in his 2nd inning. Fires up and in, ball 1. Rough Riders started this series winless against Tulsa and could make it 2 of 3. Mastroianni fouls it away. This would be a pretty impressive little homestand for the Rough Riders, rebounding, coming off a 2-8 road trip to go 4-2 at home.
Would be. That's what you want to do at home, and that's what we preach a lot. It's, can we play 500 ball on the road and win 10, 15, 20 games over 500 at home, and that's what you got to do. You have to protect your house.
Certainly the Rangers have done that this year. What a year it's been for the big club. Exciting time to be a part of the organization the last couple of years, I'm sure.
It is. It is fun. It's always fun when your major league club is winning, and the way we are. And it's just, from Banny down, it's just great chemistry. These guys have fun, and that's good when they're doing what we're preaching in the big leagues night in and night out. That's having fun, playing hard, aggressive baseball, and that's what we're about as an organization. And to see them doing it on a nightly basis is good and fun to watch.
And to your point, 34-32 on the road, 39-20 at home this year for Texas. There's a lazy fly. Calhoun, second baseman, has it. Mastroianni 0 for 4 now. And up comes Edward Pinto in what will likely be his last chance to pick up another multi-hit game. Had one last night. Had a single in the 1st today. Spohr has retired all 4 he's faced in relief of Andrew Sopko. Stands to be the loser in this one. Jack Snodgrass in line for the win for the Rough Riders. Bouncing ball. LeCastro, first in time. 2 away. So the inning and potentially the night offensively for the Rough Riders is left up to Carson Blair. Nice smooth play by LeCastro coming over. He's played a pretty good short tonight.
He has. Now, this Tulsa team has been impressive. Obviously, the Riders are winning 4-3 here, but they've come to play. A lot of impressive players. We mentioned Bellinger being their top overall prospect, and you've got Willie Calhoun with 27 home runs. It's a fun team to watch, and this team gets in the playoffs to be dangerous in the Texas League.
Well, the big thing is so far tonight, the Rough Riders have kept them off of the home run scoreboard. Something that's been tough against this Drillers team this year. You mentioned Calhoun. It's not just Calhoun, though, in terms of power production. 1-0 on Blair. There's a strike from Spohr. One-run game. Rough Riders have been good in these this year. Swing and a miss from Blair. Games decided by 1 run. The Rough Riders are 6 games over 500, 25-19. There's the 1-2 from Spores. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, interesting fact on Carson Blair, his brother Elliot is actually one of our interns in the front office. So it was kind of funny when we did sign Carson, we called Elliot and said, hey, we've got more than one of you in this organization.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Blair. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Spores. It'll be Joe Filipino time when we come back. The closer will try to do just that. The 9th inning, and the Riders lead it by a small margin. That means it's Joe Filipino time, at least as of late. The Rough Riders closer, who has been absolutely electric for this club since arriving from High Desert in the middle of the season. Filipino throws hard, he's nasty, and he is extremely tough to hit. There are the numbers on Joe. 2-0, 2.35 ERA, but to go along with that, Filipino also has 3 saves and 5 chances since becoming the closer.
He's really relishing that role. He took it on last year with Hickory and really had it in High Desert, and here we are in Frisco. He's a bulldog out there. I know I used that term with slack, but really, Philo is the definition of that. He'll come right after you when he's on. He's got 92, 96 mile an hour fastball. He's got a slider with hard, late breaking action, and it's tough to hit when he's on.
And I don't know if this matters, Paul, but he's got that closer swagger. He feels like a closer even when you don't know anything about how he pitches when you meet him in person.
Absolutely, and that's a quality that a lot of people don't have, and he's got that trait. He has that ability, and really you just walk around, you talk to him. He's a goofy, fun-loving kid, but when he gets between those lines, he wants to win. He give me the ball. He's got that kind of an attitude, and that goes a long way, especially in the bullpen.
Yeah, big personality, very competitive, and you mentioned tough to hit. Lefties 163 against him, righties 152.
This will be a good test for him then. He's got a lefty switch hitter up to start the 9th. Can he do what he is brought in to do and get those left-handed hitters out?
And the Dodgers' top prospect Cody Bellinger's the first one to face him, so not just a slouch either. Just a little low. Bellinger 1 for 3. The double back in the 5th scored a run on the pass ball. Bellinger and Rios, 2 guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark in a 1-run game. Filipino has allowed 3 long balls with the Rough Riders in 38 in the 3rd innings. In fact, 3 all year, none in High Desert. And that's saying something.
Isn't that ever? But one thing too is, like, High Desert is a hitting park, but if you look at Texas Rangers, the organization as a whole, the Texas League, Frisco, it's a hitter-friendly ballpark. You go to Round Rock and AAA, it's hitter-friendly, and Arlington as well is hitter-friendly. So as a pitcher, you cannot shy away from these ballparks, pitching ahead, getting ahead in the count, and throwing your fastball.
Gets a swing and a miss here on Bellinger. It's 1-2. Luke Jackson tonight, 1 unearned run allowed in an inning, 2 hits, a walk. 14 pitches, 7 strikes. It's been Snodgrass, Slack, Jackson, and now Filipino. Joe last worked in game 1 of this series, throwing an inning and a third, picking up his 3rd save of the year. He's got Bellinger set up 1-2. And a pop up out of play.
Got away with a fastball there. He's trying to go up and left it over the heart of the plate.
Well, what a game this has been. Tulsa taking a 1-0 lead. The Rough Riders scoring 4 runs in the 6th. The Drillers getting a run back in the 7th and the 8th. Trying to claw their way back in. And remember, Tulsa didn't get a hit tonight until the 5th inning. Jack Snodgrass was dominant over the first 4 and very good over his 6 innings of work. Weak ground ball. Filipino fielding his position. 1 away.
Good play. Set him up there. Went 1-2 with the fastball. Obviously didn't hit his location on that, but then came with that slider. Again, it's that release point. It looks like a fastball out of the hand and then cuts at the last minute with some bite and depth and gets weak contact from Bellinger.
Now he's got to deal with Rios, who is 0 for 3 tonight. And that has been a rarity. Rios has hit the Rough Riders well. He's really hit the entire Texas League well since coming up. Hit 2 home runs in the weekend series against the Rough Riders at One Oak Field. Did he go? Guess not. John Falchek
looked close there. Good pitch.
It was. John Falchek said he didn't go. Filomeno and the Riders needing 2 more outs to win this series. Here's a strike. Zaraga's on deck. Hard hit just by Garcia. Base hit. Edwin nearly snagged that one. Rios is aboard. The tying run is on. Winning or go-ahead run is coming up. It'll be Sean Zaraga.
Another pitch that looked like it ran over the heart of the plate there. Got away with it. Trying to stay away from him. See, one thing that you don't want to get beat in for a home run. So right now it looks like Joe's trying to stay away. Single. If they're going to beat us, it's going to single us to death. We don't want them to extend their hands and get something out over the plate that they can drive out of the ballpark. And that one, again, he got lucky, left it over the heart, but held him to a single.
Got a pinch runner on. Jordan Tarsevich pinch running here for Edwin Rios. And Filomeno, who has a great pickoff move, tries once.
That's a tough one. A lot of times you talk about the lefty that'll hang and read. Right there was a quick snap throw, step off the back, and fire to first. It's a good move.
4 pickoffs this year for Filomeno, coming in 4 consecutive outings. Another one. Close play. Oh, boy.
And there's that read pick that we were just talking about. He can work the step and snap throw. He can also work the read play like he did there.
Walk us through that.
That read play. The read play, you're going to hold there. You're going to read that runner. And if he's not leaning, it's like right there. He's not leaning, but at the same time, he is a speed guy. We're going to keep him honest and keep him guessing. So on this next pitch there, he's really got a hold. And he's doing more of a secondary lead rather than a quick jump. So it's a good job by Joe. You know you're bringing in a pinch runner for a reason. Usually a guy that can run a little bit and is going to look to get to second base. And he's going to keep him guessing as to what Joe's going to do.
Tarsevich, 6 stolen bases in 49 games. Another pickoff play.
He's really shown 3 different pickoff moves in 3 different throwovers, and that's huge because now he doesn't know what to expect. Am I going to get a snap one? Am I going to get a read, or am I going to get your traditional pickoff to first there?
Filomeno comes home. Fly ball to right. Pinto is there. 2 away. Riders are 1 out away from a victory. Joey Curletta is the last hope for Tulsa today. He has been on all 3 times with a pair of singles and a walk.
Been a tough out, like you said. He's that 9-hole hitter, but you can't give in, especially in this situation. You don't want to turn that lineup over. Can we get this guy to get a ground ball, get out here, whatever the case may be. But in addition, you don't want that runner to get to second base. So it's still a tough situation, even at the bottom of the order. All these guys are capable of doing damage at any time.
There comes the pickoff again. And Curletta is the first of 4 straight righties should this game continue as well. Now, Filomeno has been very tough on righties, but you don't get that split advantage. That won't come till Calhoun, and if that happens, Rough Riders are in some trouble. First pitch. Strike 1.
They get that strike 1. Now we can open it up a little bit. We've got that fastball. We can go to his hard-biting slider, whatever the case may be. But he's got the advantage now, whereas if we're going behind 1-0, now the hitter does. So let's see what Joe can do here.
He has played with fire a little bit as a closer, but man, has he been tough to hit. Crowd getting behind Filomeno. And he goes to first again. Tense final inning here in Frisco. Strike two.
Good aggressive pitch there. Slider on the outer half. Not a pitch that Curletta's looking to do damage with, so he's going to take it there, and we're going to get up 0-2 in the count.
Fans are on their feet. One strike away. And there it is. Blew him away with 93. Exclamation point on an impressive win, an impressive series victory, and a strong 4-2 homestand for the Rough Riders. We're back with some final thoughts when we come back here on Fox Sports Southwest. Rough Riders Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest has been brought to you by Train, by Dr. Pepper, and by CoServe. Rough Riders win tonight by the score of 4-3, and we are standing by with our player of the game, Joe Jackson, who had a 2-run base hit in this game, a 2-run double. But Joe, you also had a great play in the outfield. Your defensive play in left field, what were you looking for there?
Man, I was just trying to get a jump on it. Got a good jump, got a good read, and I was able to come up with it.
It's I know it's been an adjustment for you playing in the outfield. How proud a moment is that to be able to make a play like that in a game that was as close as this one was?
Man, it's pretty awesome. You know, I've put a lot of work in out there, and just trying to be as best as I can be. And you know, this year it's really coming along for me, and I'm just glad the hard work's showing up a little bit.
Joe, it's Paul Kruger. How you doing?
Good, Paul. How are you?
Doing well. Hey, take us through that at bat in the 6th inning. Obviously, you get up 3-0, get back to 3-2. What are you looking for on that 3-2 pitch right there?
Man, I'm just looking for a fastball, something in the zone. You know, I was late on fastballs at whole at bat, and I had a pretty good feeling that he was going to try and throw another one by me. So I just had to make sure I got my foot down, saw it, and put a good swing on it.
It's been a fun season for you, Joe. I know it has had its ups and downs for you as well. But again, a big offensive performance for you tonight, a big defensive play for you as well. Congratulations. Enjoy this one. Enjoy the off day tomorrow. Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
That was player of the game, Joe Jackson. Paul, the Rough Riders with some big plays in this game tonight. Every little inch matters in a one-run game. And I think one of the biggest plays came in that 8th inning. Bases loaded. Jacob Scavuzzo at the plate. You called it. The double play.
Oh, yeah. And that was a big pitch right there. It was, you know, Luke, we had just given up a single and intentionally walked a guy, and Luke made a great pitch, ground ball back to Marte after the air earlier in the inning, and it was a clean 6-4-3 double play. Just the way we drew it up, and they executed it perfectly.
And offensively, Jackson had the big hit, but Andy Ibanez also had a big hit as well in this ball game. You talked about the power that he had, and he was able to come through with a big hit in this game as well.
He was. He got that 0-0 fastball, and that's what we tell them to look. Look for a pitch that you can drive, and he got that pitch, and he drove it out of the ballpark. Put a good swing on it, stayed back, drove it, and it gave us a 4-1 lead.
Ibanez, his 6th home run as a Rough Rider, his 13th on the year, and all 4 runs in that inning came up big because the Rough Riders held on by 1 run. We'll have some final thoughts when we come back on this winning Sunday night for the Rough Riders, 4-3 over the Drillers here on Fox Sports Southwest. Back here in Frisco, the Rough Riders winning tonight in the series finale, the homestand finale, 4-3 the final, the 4 runs on 7 hits, 2 errors. Frisco left just 2 men on base tonight, going 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position, while the Drillers, 3 runs, 6 hits, no errors, 6 left on for Tulsa. They go 2 for 7 as well. Jack Snodgrass, the winning pitcher, improving to 3-0 in 4 starts with Frisco. The Rough Riders are 4-0 when he takes the ball. Andrew Sopko suffering the loss in his 4th start. He is 1-2, and Joe Filomeno in 6 chances now with 4 saves on the season. The game took 2 hours and 31 minutes. Announced attendance tonight, 5,798. Nathan Barnett alongside the Rangers Assistant Director of Player Development, Paul Kruger. And Paul, tonight the Rough Riders able to cap off a strong homestand. They might not have a shot to play in the postseason, but always nice to finish out the season strong. And this homestand, a nice foot forward over the final two homestand and road trip of the season.
Absolutely. I think, obviously the goal would get every minor league team, every major league, and the major league team into the playoffs, and that's just not going to happen this year. But at the same time, you can take a lot away from this season, and more specifically as we're here tonight, this game. We preach a lot hitting the fastball, and what happened? We hit a fastball out of the ballpark to give us a 4-1 lead. Ended up being the winning run there off the bat of Andy Ibanez. From the defensive side, Luke Jackson gives up a double with runners on first and second, 1 out. We do a tremendous job of getting in line for the cutoff and holding him at third rather than allowing both runs to score to tie the ball game. Now it's a 4-3 ball game. All those things are small little player development tools that are exciting for us, because that means they're learning. They're taking what we've taught them day in and day out and executing them, and it's led to a W. So it's been a fun year. Obviously, not as many wins as we would hope in Frisco, but these guys are getting better. We've developed championship-level baseball players, not just for our organization, but for baseball in general, which has led to championship-level players in the major leagues and in the trades through Louis Ortiz and Lewis Brinson. So it's been a good year. Not record-wise, but definitely for the Rough Riders a positive.
Well, Paul, thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you on tonight.
It's been fun. Thanks for having me, as always.
Rough Riders win it tonight, 4-3 the final, as fans get ready for the fireworks down on the field. Jack Snodgrass pitched well. The Rough Riders hang on for the 1-run win. This is the last Fox Sports Southwest television broadcast for the Rough Riders this year. I want to thank everybody for tuning in over the course of the season. Thanks to the entire crew for putting on a great show tonight. This telecast is broadcast and copyright 2016 Frisco Rough Riders Baseball.